things.
All
What
right.
else would you like to know?
I think that you might want to repeat that because the mic was on mute. There's always technical difficulties, always. But Mike's going to show us some new stuff and some refurbished stuff. And it's going to be fun. You wait till you guys see what he's got. Of course, you guys know I am not the best camera person, but if you want to see these beauties in live and living color, you got to come down to Miriam's Place, 1519 East Boulder Street, right across from Memorial. Free food. Libations, come join us. All right, so we're going to start on this wall over here. Tell me a little bit about this piece.
This is one of the last crisp afternoons. A lot of my pieces, I try to evoke a feeling of that you were there in the moment. So it's not about a lot of detail and crisp lines. It's a lot more about the feeling of that you're there.
Right.
You know, a fleeting moment or a blurry memory. So this one is like early springtime. You know, the sun's out, the trees are, you know, they're starting to sparkle with a little bit of life, but, you know, it could snow any minute.
Right.
Kind of the same thing. So it's crisp. It's why I have some of the lighter colors, some of the yellows to show spring, but we still got a lot of blues and
Right.
you know, greens
Not
are
quite
still
here
hanging
yet.
around. It's Colorado style.
Right. All right. What about this one?
Cool. Well, so this is along the same lines, which is kind of why they're partnered together. This one's called That Warm Feeling After. It's subjective, open to interpretation. Mostly what it is it's maybe you're in a field, you know, maybe you were just running, maybe you're playing in a game or had a picnic, you know, or maybe you met somebody that you really cared about and you went for a hike or something. And this is the moment after wonderful feelings where you're just kind of basking in and you're kind of glancing off across the field and you can see the stuff in the background. You know, it's all kind of fuzzy. It's all kind of just a blurry hodgepodge of
Right, because you're just
It's-
feeling your
yeah.
feelings.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, so this one's along the lines of winter. You can see some stuff starting to move and bustle. I call this one a secret conversation dance because I like to blur the lines literally, obviously, but also between stationary things like a tree in the background, clouds, and maybe just the sky.
Right.
So
that might be moving.
Yeah, it's like two-dimensional, three-dimensional. It really is. It's up to you, how it speaks to you. So this is a winter tree getting excited, kind of whispering with the sky. Like, are we doing this? Is it springtime or what's going on here?
All right, and here is
This is the good Karen. Yeah. So that's got two meanings.
some connotation.
Right. Yeah. There's a zeitgeist, which is, you know, Karens out there has a negative connotation. This painting started out as a portrait of Karen O from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, the
Okay.
band. And over the years, she's morphed a little here and a little there and become her own Karen.
Right.
So I used blues to kind of show that it's grounded and it's relaxing and mellow, but at the same time, it's a rougher portrait, right? I didn't smooth everything out because there's a lot going on inside there, and I kind of wanted to show that visually. And this one just sold, so that's
Nice. All right. So what about this one? This one is vibrant. It's one of my favorites. Some friendly flowering anemones.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's floral, but it also has an underwater kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Especially the way some of the tendrils are kind of
Right.
intertwining and kind of floating off doing their own things. Yeah, this started out with each of these purple bursts in the middle were going to be flowers, and
Yeah.
it kind of just took me on its own journey of what it wanted to be, and this is what it is. And this is the type of painting that I hang up and just walk past, and it's kind of in my periphery for months or
Right.
sometimes even years. And this is one that it's just been done. There's little details and little things I'd like to finesse, but that's not correct because it's done.
It's done.
Yeah, the paintings they decide when they're done.
Right.
Some are never done, but
Right. Okay. Let's go into the next room. We're traversing a very bustling art show tonight. Thank you. Everyone, this way. All right. Speaking of portraits they tell you when they're done. This one you brought to us the last time you were here.
Yes.
But you've added some things.
She's shown in 4 different gallery shows. She's always had a great reception, but then she'd still come home with me. So this is another one that I pull out and have it away for a while, and pull it out to see Is it done? You know, did it just not find the correct its person yet?
Right.
She did need a couple. She did want a little extra things. She's kind of being muted into the ground here, into the water. So I added this gold and copper leaf. That's a new addition. And I also softened her wing. It wasn't real clear before that she's a little angel. And she's having a moment of repose in the water, just kind of thinking about everything and kind of reflecting on everything that's going on. So it could be a heavier motif, but I have some colors, some flowers, and some water to where it's not necessarily negative. It's just she's just thinking about this stuff.
This one looks like a whale.
It is a whale, and it's kind of a whale and kind of balloon and kind of an allegory. This is called "Bring It All with You."
All right.
So yeah, this is an illustration idea for a children's book that I was working on, and I'm still kind of working on. And this one though is essentially it's trying to fly away and it's kind of pulling the strings. You know, like if you get a loose string on your sweater or something, and it starts to snag and bunch. And this one is this is this great positive thing of just like, go for the sky. It's kind of bunching it up and, causing some unrest, but it's all right. It's good.
All right. This one.
Okay. This young lady, this one's called A Peek in Her Heart.
Okay.
What that means is, she's looking up, she's got a big mushy eye and she's kind of dreaming and thinking about, and, she's got a little bit of movement in her hair.
Right.
And then as you go down, you see that all this colorful explosion of
Flowers.
some symbols, some things you can recognize, and then just other different things. And that's kind of to show like just the explosion of what's going on inside of her. Like sometimes you can read it on people's faces, but this is just a peek at what's going on with her heart. I like that one.
And this one.
Okay, this one is I called A Perilous Journey of Hope. This is one of those paintings that it was in the canvas or in the air and it just had to come out. It's pretty quick. There's more gestural. I was doing a couple different gesture paintings to practice different color schemes. I wanted to get into this kind of color scheme. And this family just appeared, and they're rustling. It's a movement. They're moving along. They have protective head cover, so maybe they're on elements. It just happened to also just kind of fit in with a lot of the different themes that are going on these days. Nothing specific, but like with most of my pieces, it's about how you interact with it.
Right.
I'm done with it, and it's what it's supposed to be. And if it talks to you, then
all right. So this kind of gives me a feeling of Watership Down.
Okay. Yeah.
The rabbits are the main characters, right?
Yeah.
But I like the color. Just got the color burst here and here.
Yeah, I put a lot of my favorite elements in it. Dramatic colors. The sky is kind of moving. The mountains are kind of moving. The ground's kind of moving. I added a little turquoise in just for figurativeness, because it's kind of a southwesterny, Colorado-y kind of picture.
Right.
This is all a big mess and jumbled. It was going to be very defined, like grass with some flowers, but then I realized that he was startled from his perfect nap. He was kind of huddled down in a little pile.
I know.
And then something startled him, and he's jumping out, and he's very alert, trying to see what's going on. So.
All right. Oh goodness, this one is so bright.
Yeah, this is one of my randomly abstract landscapes. So it is essentially a landscape. I kind of have here's the median line. It's reflective. Maybe this is water. Maybe this is sky. It's called the Lovelies because at some point I had written the Lovelies on there when it was going to be a different painting, and it just survived all the way through. This one's a lot of central, agitation and movement, and then just it's symptomatic of how things should be in life. There's a lot of rustle and bustle, and then it kind of mutes out as you go. Like things should smooth out and become more pleasant and larger shapes, I guess.
This one here is fabulous, beauty.
This one's called Surfeit du jour.
What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
So surfeit means an overabundance, too much of something, and du jour is kind of
like of the day.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. It's the soup of the day. It's the thing that's going on now. So this painting has evolved a little bit over time. This is one that changes in the light because I added a lot of gold leaf All these gold colors are actually gold leaf. So under different lights, it shines. So when you're walking past it into a room, you'll see a different like little constellation essentially.
Right.
So this is like a big face kind of
Yeah.
moving over, but not in a negative way. It's kind of, it's kind of got like sympathetic eyes, maybe,
Right,
something like that. And then I see flowers, and then this theme is common in a lot of my abstract or impressionistic abstracts, which is like a main thorough line where there's everything's kind of revolving around some kind of line.
Right.
Kind of everything else is kind of part of that or an offshoot of that.
Okay.
It's a big, messy, wonderful thing.
It is. All right. This one kind of looks like it's got a mountain background.
This one is a mountain background. Yeah. This is like an overgrown hike. So I kind of got some different hills, different kinds of interesting foliage. It's very subjective, like I like to do. But you got a big mountain up here, and you got kind of like some, sky rays, some sun rays going off there. This one's called like the greatest hike. So it's like you're looking up there. It looks kind of daunting, but it also looks like something you want to get into.
Right. It looks exciting.
Yeah. This one also has gold leaf all throughout these areas. So from different light angles or sunshine, that it shimmers. And I like that. All right, these are a couple two straightforward landscapes, but very vibrant colors. This one at the bottom here is called The Magic Hour Moves.
Okay.
So obviously it's like right at sunset.
Right.
The darkness has already creeped into this side.
Just before
The
that.
hills, yeah. So this tree, it's starting to let its evening dance routine get going.
Yeah.
I like to romanticize the idea that nature's alive.
Right.
Even more so than
Right. We see it
can
as
see it.
inanimate objects, but it's actually doing something when we're not watching.
Yeah, even if it's not, leaves blowing, I feel like that is clearly a winter tree where, that's getting excited about the evening.
Right.
That things are growing and things are happening. And I was like an excited sky. This one right above it, called On Your Mark, Get Set. That's essentially every time I look at this painting, first I get distracted by this, these
Right.
two trees in the foreground, and then I absolutely love this style of trees in the background.
Right.
That's not an invention of mine by any stretch. It's forever, and I've always practiced like trying to do those horizon trees with the little light. I love that. I kind of got some like different layers to the field, so every time I look at this, I just want to like run across that field, trying to get over to that horizon.
Right.
That's
That definitely seems like something you would have done as a kid, or as anybody would have done as a kid. All right, what do we got on the tape?
Okay, so this one right here, this is called Sometimes the Line is the Party. There's something that they're waiting in line for, all of these nondescript figures. They're just all very symbolic figures. And then up here is, some type of stadium or city, and some sort of something's going on over there. Here's the big exciting, and who knows where the beginning of the line is, or if it goes way over here, who knows? But sometimes you got to have the party in there.
Right.
You might not even ever
You
get
might not even get inside the doors. I've been there. All right, what about this one?
This one doesn't have a name. This one snuck into my pile and found its way into the show. So it's like the Leonardo DiCaprio of the Titanic. It just jumped in here, and it's trying to find its way across.
A little stowaway.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
That one might be a real special deal. Just snuck in there. This one's Head to the Garden. This is a Colorado Springs one. This is Garden of the Gods kind of base, and it's like a large godlike hand is like maybe been pulling it out of the ground, and it's saying, "Look, there's more over there." We got some of our mountains.
Yeah, head to the
That's what
garden.
it is. Pretty straightforward. This one, these are kind of goofy, couple goofy looking characters, but they're a real shy young couple. This is a like innocent couple. This isn't, he's like, oh yeah. He's young, and maybe like they're like teenagers and such. So he's dealing with his hormonal stuff, and she is also, and she's a little more shy, a little more reserved, and like her eyes are muted because she's not even sure that she's at that part of the journey yet or anything. And he's like, well, maybe I am, and she's like, well, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. That's one that I could rework and overwork for years and years.
Right.
It's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They told me that.
Let's see. You've got prints to sell as well.
Yes, I do have a whole bunch of prints. These are ones that are in the show, but also some of my other things that are not in the show or have previously sold.
Okay.
These are numbered, and these are all high quality photographic paper at the correct size to just frame at Hobby Lobby or
Right.
Michael's. See, this is another example of It's my wild landscape stuff.
Yeah. Kind of spilling over.
This is an older one, but this is a small town becoming a large city. Kind of that feeling of like hopefulness and changing, but you don't recognize what's happening.
Right.
Yeah, that's lots of places. Here's another crazy one of these. This is like a sky thing coming. It's a big excitement thing.
Mhm.
So anyways, there's a whole bunch of these. Some people like always wish that I would do more of this type of work, which is just straightforward. I prefer the Picasso method, which is if you prove that you can do it, then you can work on what you really are supposed to be
Right,
working on.
right. So
I
you
can-
mastered that part. So
Not
now-
mastered, but I can draw a face if,
Right.
if necessary. But I like to make things that are sometimes just wallpaper.
you can turn
this
it
is
any
fine.
way you want.
And I signed it that way because
Wallpaper.
it's correct on all sides. There's nothing going wrong. Here's another one. Here's a half-faced guy. That's just a dramatic one, like maybe in the hallway.
Yeah.
This is an old self-portrait. That's fun. Then some more flowers. These are great. Yeah, these are nice for like a hallway or something like that. You can put a big fancy frame. I don't do a lot of framing myself because first of all, it's a lot of upfront
Right.
investment, and I've tried that before. And moving paintings around to get
When they're
the-
already
and
too
it's
pre-framed or whatever. Yeah.
It's a pet peeve of mine. Even on a nice frame, if you get a little ding in the frame, that really bothers me because
Yeah.
that's just not professional.
Right.
My art is messy and out of control, but that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right, but the framing
Frame,
should
that's
be
different.
nice.
Yeah, that's a whole.
So tell me about this one here.
Yeah, this is another one of those movement. It's just vague things that are dancing and moving. So maybe these are some trees, maybe this is some water, maybe this is the forest. But it doesn't matter, just dance all the way.
Right.
This one's hard to see unless you're in person and kind of taking a look at it, because it's a little more. It's got a lot of layers. So
Right.
it's pretty subtle. This one is oil, but also pastel.
Okay.
This is one of the pastel pieces. So this is just like a secret lake, a
Yeah.
magic lake. So this is on the way to the magic lake. This is like when you take your friends and you're like, oh, I know this one spot. And
Right.
you're going along and they're like, okay, what do they really know or something? Or are they just dragging me along? This is when you just crest over the edge
Right,
of the hill
like-
or around the bend where you're like,
We're almost there. I like the colors in that.
yeah. And I got a little dramatic with this frame. I was trying some gold leaf and then some distress stuff because it was a bright red frame.
Mhm.
I couldn't figure out what to do with it. It felt nice with this. So that's what it is.
Well, it worked. All right, let's look at these really big ones you brought us. All right, now pull back from this.
Okay, so this big guy, this is called So Much to Say. This is when I like to try to do portraits sometimes that are in the same vein as Mona Lisa.
Okay.
Like not the direct comparison, but comparison as far as, tell me, is he mad? Is he sad? Is he introspective? Did he just have a great idea?
Right.
Did he just work 16 hours? Is he just getting home after a long journey, or is he, feeling the pressure of going on a long journey? That's
Nice.
pretty much what it is. It's very muted. I let some of the streaks stay through
Right.
to kind of also intimate that, could be crying, could be, but also over here, it's, who knows?
Not so much. Right.
This is one of those paintings that it just told me when it was done. I had much grander intention with the nose. The nose is slightly cartoonish. And then there's not a lot of,
Right. There's not a lot of background, but there is
Sure.
some.
yeah. So anyways, it told me it was done. So I was like, all right. I'll do the next one.
What about this one?
This is another one. It's hard to tell, but this has a lot of gold leaf in it. So there's a whole different symphony of little gold leaf, little things in here. So different lights and different sun and different. You're walking by it, you'll see those things.
Yeah.
This is just it could be anything you want. How I have it is it's a spring concert alive in the park.
Okay.
So this is a painting that I showed in 2023. It wasn't quite as wild. It was the same style, the same overall thing, but I added in some other stuff. It used to be just a relaxed afternoon at an outdoor restaurant. So you could kind of pick out, very symbolic, but you could pick out some people sitting around.
Right.
When I pulled it back out of storage, it told me that it needed to be livened up a little bit. So that's when we put in some gold leaf. And then I just let it tell me what I wanted to do. It's just a a wild, fun spring concert. We've all been to those. They're
Right,
them
yep.
around town.
Yep, it's that time of year almost. All right, so what about these down here?
This is a fun little two-piece painting. It's just called "Wrestle Down the Hill with Me."
All
You got
right.
this big wild hill.
Yeah,
I got some curves in there, a lot of curves and stuff. Maybe you're rolling down the hill right now.
right.
Maybe when you get to the bottom and you're like, whoa, maybe you look up and the sky looks all crazy. It's an exciting, fun day and wrestling down the hill.
Nice. All right. What about this one here? Oh, another day in Edinburgh. Edinburgh.
So when my mom saw this painting that came out of storage that I'd never shown before, she was like, "Oh, it's the Garden of Eden. Clearly, that's what it is." And so I was like, "I don't know if I want to."
She brought that to my attention.
I was like, "I don't know if I want to commit to that fully. That this is my official representation."
Right.
No, this is just a color study, and I've got this figure in the foreground who's just kind of relaxed, looking at it all, taking it all in. So it does feel like that, but it feels more like it's an Edinburgh and not just an Eden.
Right, right. All right, let's two more.
This when we were in Denver, the next time we were in the hotel.
All right.
Okay, so this one merges a couple of my favorite things. So this one's called an excitement just out of town. And so on the left-hand side, you can see some vague building type of situation, right? So maybe that's part of the town. You've got like the idea of a landscape. Got a couple, symbols that look like birds and things like that. We've got this wild sky that's kind of swirling into whatever's going on here and whatever's going on here. This could be a couple people. Maybe they're dancing. Maybe they're talking. Maybe there's no people. This is one that it's straightforward impression. This is the impression that you get when you look at it.
Yeah.
And it can be any of that. It's just an excitement on the outside of town.
All right. And the last one.
But this one's fun because this is another one that has all kinds of ideas of what it's going to be.
Right.
And it told me that it was done. It wasn't even going to be as green and yellow when we got done with it. This is a portrait of Jake Gyllenhaal that I started.
Okay.
And as I was messing around with the eye on this side, it kind of just came into this. This is called Jake G finding a character. So it's just Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's in between. He is right now an analogous pile of clay,
Right.
and he's like trying to form himself into whatever.
Right.
the
He's a
character's gonna do
well-known.
that
That's
next
right.
time.
He's a well-known character actor. So.
So if you're looking at it like which part's which and how is it measured out to his handsome face, be like, oh, that's not it. It's you come around the corner and it's maybe you think it's him like I do, and maybe you don't. Either way, it's fine.
All right, so we're gonna do another quick walk around. Okay, guys, you seen the work? It's sitting here. We're here until 7 p.m. tonight here at Miriam's Place for Second Tuesday Art Night. Our artist is Mike Van, and there's free food, a lot of the good company, and music tonight. We've got Calvin Benson playing for us. We've got a taco bar, and I think we've got Virgin Sangria somewhere in the building. So come on down. These pieces will be here to the end of the month. So if you see something you like, stop by Miriam's Place during the regular work week, and we can maybe help you get your hands on these pieces before Mike's show is done. Thank you guys so much for joining us for our live stream. Come back. Say goodbye, Mike.
Bye. Thank you.
Come back next month, and we will have some more wonderful art by Maggie McIndoe. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon.